All right. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Cheers.
All right. Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Jay Schrader and I are here at Grist Brewing Company. It's a wonderful Friday afternoon. How you doing, Jay?
I'm well, thank you. We're at the Park Meadows location, not to be confused with Highlands Ranch, which is probably the larger production facility.
Hold on. I want to ask them about it. Let's get them to introduce themselves. Because that's actually a great first question. Gentlemen, can you introduce yourselves?
All right, I'll start. My name is Nate Wannlund. I'm the head mascot for Grist, which basically means I've had every job and do every job in some capacity. So been around pretty much since the beginning. I started about 6 months after the opening.
Okay.
I was there at the opening.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So
How
time.
many years ago?
We celebrated 5 years in November.
Wow.
So just a month ago.
And I'm Kevin Paquette. I'm the head brewer at Grist. I've been here for, I don't know, how many months? 3, 4?
Yeah,
Long time. It feels like a very long time.
A minute, yeah.
A minute.
We're
I've
glad
been
to
here for
have
a
you,
little while.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay, first question then, because I'm a beer in, and I may forget. What's the difference between the two locations?
So the difference between...
Where are we? Sorry, you got to explain, because we assume this is going to be worldwide. People in Egypt are going to be listening to this. So
Absolutely.
We're in Denver, Colorado, United States.
Cheers to Egypt.
Actually, we're
Love Egypt.
Yeah. We're in Lone Tree, but anyhow,
Big
go ahead.
fan.
So we have 2 locations. The one we're at right now, we like to call the lab. It's our smaller facility, tasting room. I don't know if you can see back there. Pretty small system, just 3-barrel. This is kind of where we do our one-off little experimental beers. That's the other brewer, Brendan. He's back there working hard.
Is it Brendan or Dale? Okay. I love you,
I
Dad.
like that. Yeah, love you, Dad. Anyway, so this is our smaller kind of test facility, I guess, is a good way to describe it. Our other location in Highlands Ranch is our production facility where we have 20-barrel brew house. Basically anything you're going to get on tap is made over at Highlands Ranch.
And Highlands Ranch was the first, obviously, right? So the lab is not the baby. It's technically it is the baby, right? It's the newer of the two. How long have you guys been in this space?
So we have been in this space. It'll be 2 years in May.
Okay.
So the original space is over in Highlands Ranch. That was November 2013 that opened. And actually, it's interesting because when that opened, there was only 2 breweries. Lone Tree Brewing being the first, and then us were the only 2 on the 470 corridor at that time.
And I have spent a few dollars at Lone Tree Brewing.
That's a good place to spend a few dollars.
You know what? Their Irish Red is one of my favorites. But having worked in the hood for entirely too long, off and on, you guys weren't here at the time, so Lone Tree Brewing got a lot of my money.
And actually, that in my first job in the brewing industry was working behind the bar at Lone Tree Brewing Company.
You look fuzzily familiar to me.
You know, you do too. I love those guys over there. Like I said, they gave me my first chance in the brewing industry, so a lot of love for Lone Tree Brewing Company.
What prompted location number 2?
So location number 2 came out of this idea that we had the big production facility. We were doing a lot of really cool on-style beers at the time and wanted to experiment a little bit more. And a lot of our test batches were done on a glorified home brewing system at that time. And so the strategy was, all right, let's open up more of a really nice tap room, like a destination tap room, and then have a smaller experimental system behind it as a showcase so we can do goofy stuff where we're not really worried about the cost of raw materials or whether it even comes out or not, to really kind of throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
And somebody somewhere said, hey, the Rio Grande is like empty all the time in Park Meadows, so let's see what we can do.
Well, fortunate for us, we did a lot of looking. So our ownership group, this plan took a long time to come to fruition. They looked downtown. They looked out in the west part of Denver, the east part of Denver, looking for the right space. And consequently, they came across the owner of the Rio, and they started talking. And the strategy was developed to basically take this side of the Rio, which was at the time like a large banquet facility, and then back behind us is where they had their kitchen and everything like that.
Okay.
And they weren't utilizing the entire space. They wanted to kind of concentrate their space a little bit, and obviously they're going to make a lot more money leasing to us. if we have our own kind of unique concept, and we work really well with them. It's a good complementary relationship. So they divided it in half. And we had our Christmas party at the time that year at the Rio, so we got to talk to the employees at the time, and they were really excited about it, and ended up, taking over this side and utilizing the space for a totally different concept.
I think every time I've been in here for a beer, there have been at least 2 or 3 Rio employees. I don't want to say on their break necessarily, but they've certainly
Don't
been.
out 'em.
They've I don't know names, thank goodness. Yeah, certainly have seen plenty of Rio employees enjoying a beer. Maybe they didn't go back to work. I don't know, but maybe they did.
Vice versa, you may catch a grist hat or two over there at the Rio,
Their guac
because
is
our tequila
top-notch.
sucks over here, and their tequila is wonderful.
There you go. That's a good point. Every brewer needs a margarita every once in a while.
All right. What's the history of Grist?
So it started in 2013.
Okay.
Our original founder came up with the idea as a home brewer and pitched that business plan to his, I believe it was his bosses at the time, which became the owners.
Okay.
So they ended up funding it, and the original premise was really around brewery based in science.
Okay.
That produced a lot of on-style beers and things like that. And when
Can you explain the on-style? Sorry, I got to cut you off.
Oh, yeah,
on-style,
not a
what's that
problem.
mean in case,
Simply put, since our good friend Michael Jackson, the beer Michael Jackson, not
Yeah.
the singer Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
toured the world and started to categorize beers, because before him there wasn't really a good language for all the different styles of beers.
Okay.
So he launched what is now, to me, one of the more annoying things in the world, but it launched the style categories, and at first they were very base.
Okay.
Then they became extremely complicated, and so what they are is, I think it's the beer judges something. It's like there's a one body that essentially outlines what the style should taste like, all the attributes of that style, and then it's up to the brewer to try and hit those attributes from a taste, color, alcohol level, bitterness level, all those types of things.
And is that what judging at brewing festivals and the GABF specifically, those categories are based on Michael Jackson of the non-thriller famed categories?
He started it. However, the organization that has now made it famous, and I have the acronym, it's BJCP, is essentially a certification you can get, and those are the judges for the legitimate homebrew and brewing competitions, as well as the Brewers Association has their own style guidelines as well. So when I say on style, it's when a brewer's trying to hit that target. But that's not necessarily what all brewers do. I mean, missing the target produces amazing beer too.
Okay. All right, back to the history. Sorry.
So back to the history, our idea was to try and hit the target. Okay. And so for our first few years, we were growing like mad because, as you know, Colorado craft beer scene was lit.
I've heard it's pretty crazy.
It was crazy. And it's become very full. It's a wonderful bus to be on, but it's a crowded bus now. It's standing room only.
What if we started a podcast just in a town that had shitty breweries?
You'd have to go to Nebraska. Just kidding, Nebraska.
Do you see my
Sorry,
hat?
Nebraska.
You see my hat? I'm
Just-
an Iowa
just
fan.
kidding.
Try to get
Just
out of there
kidding.
as fast as possible.
Does Iowa
Don't
City
kill
have
me.
a
I love
brewery at
Nebraska.
all?
Iowa City
Kind
has
people.
big growth. It's a great brewery, actually. Yeah, sorry.
Road trip.
Road trip. Sorry, continue, Nathan.
All right, so we did that, and it was really, we were growing like a weed, and along with all the other breweries that were opening at that time. Well, a lot of people saw that, started breweries, rightfully so, because it was a hot industry to get in. And over time, that arc started to settle in. So we have, almost 400? It's very close. I would say, it's close to 400 breweries in the state at this particular point, plus or minus a standard deviation.
And another 15 to 20 on slate to open in 2019.
Yeah.
According to data that I saw, like Monday of this week. So no stop in sight. Maybe a slowing down, but...
Well, and it's like a pizza that just keeps getting sliced thinner. Because what we really need to be doing is going out and get more beer drinkers. Because it seems like there's the same amount of beer drinkers, and we're just slicing it thinner and thinner. So to that end, that's initially why we created the idea of the lab.
Okay.
Was to capture more of the interesting beers that are coming out and explore a little bit more.
Okay, so I have one beer real quick, and you can hand the mic over to him if you want. So the hazy IPA, right? It's a trend. Explain to me a little bit about what goes into this and why Grist decided to make it.
Well, so I was very resilient to or not resilient, but very opposed to making a hazy IPA. Until the last brewery I was at in Montana, mountains walking, we just decided we had to make one.
Okay.
And it turned out great. I hate the way it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, as a brewer, you want to make the clearest, most perfect looking beer that you can. This is obviously not that.
It is that.
Are we talking about filtering then?
Filtering, finding, just just making sure that it's clear. And for a long time, people were doing things to beer, to IPAs to make them hazy. They were, they were putting in flour or they were putting in something else just to make them hazy. Well, I get to Montana. I'm going to give a little plug here for Imperial Yeast in Portland, Oregon. They have a yeast that makes it look like that, and you don't really have to do anything to
There's
the beer.
no additional crap getting dumped into the beer just to make it look cloudy and hazy.
Yeah, and obviously the trend is here to stay. So I made one in Montana. Everyone loved it. I actually really like it. I hate the way it looks, but I drink it almost every day. And I wanted to bring that to Grist. If you look at kind of the beer scene in Colorado, people are trying it, but especially down here, nobody had really done it. So it was a great opportunity to bring this beer to, South Denver. And I think so far the reception has been good. It's actually the beer that I've brewed the most since I've started at Grist. So let's just keep it going.
So Nate Nicholas over at Tivoli, he's in love with their brute, right? Like he's big into that. You're clearly a big fan of this hazy IPA. What makes a good hazy IPA? I mean, it's a relatively new trend, as you had mentioned, but when you're tasting this, but also other breweries, what makes it good? What are we looking for?
So Nate talked about brewing correct to style. The first time I ever had a hazy IPA was when I was in brew school a long time ago. Go
ahead and name drop here. Where were you at brew
I went to
school?
the American Brewers Guild.
Alma mater.
Yeah, that's right, in Middlebury, Vermont. Steve Parks is a genius, so if he's listening, what's up, Steve?
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, thank you for everything that Kevin's done.
Anyway, that's when Heady Topper, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Heady Topper.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was the first time I had ever heard of it or tried it, and I just remember we acquired a can of Heady Topper at the brew school. It was very hard to get, and people asked me what I thought about it, and I said, it's pretty good. And they're like, oh, hey, you're a Colorado guy. Whatever. Your opinion doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, whatever. So for me, a New England IPA needs to be extremely juicy on the finish, not really bitter at all. I mean, I think this has, 10 IBUs or something like that. All late edition hops. But you want to make it hazy without doing anything ridiculous to the beer. For me, it's finding the right yeast that, keeps everything in suspension, but you don't have that yeast flavor. So I think I found the right combination of ingredients, yeast, hops, and this is what I created. So,
well, Sam can attest. I'm not a huge IPA fan, but as this podcast blows up, apparently I'm coming on board because this is the third IPA I've had in 3 interviews, and they've all been different, but I did steal quite a bit off Sam's first, and it was great.
Oh, I appreciate that. And actually, my mom, bringing up my mom right now.
What's her name?
Patty Paquette.
Patty Paquette.
Name drop
That's
episode.
Right. Absolutely. Patty might be watching right now. She follows Grist on social media, so she might be.
Kevin's phone is ringing. I think it's his mom.
It might be. Anyway, she tried it and she liked it. So if I make a beer that my mom likes, then I feel that's definitely a win.
Does she approve of your career choice?
She does. She actually is very
okay.
supportive. I mean, I used to work. No, she does. I used to work in law and politics, and then one day I decided to be a brewer.
All these
And-
great brewers that we keep meeting that had financial backgrounds, legal backgrounds, basically all of the career choices that are shit.
Oh no, it was
sucked the life out of you.
It did. It actually did. I mean, the reason why I'm in Denver is for law. I came here to go to law school, and I did that for a little while. Worked in politics, and now I decided I wanted to do a job that made people happy.
Sounds like DU or CU Law should have probably had a brewery science or brewery law focus.
DU should have
There you go.
go Pios. Yeah.
Go Pios. I know. Yeah, hockey. That's where I went to. His brother and I went to grad school there.
Nice.
They have a hell of a lacrosse team too. I'm just going to point that out.
And soccer
And soccer. You are
and
correct.
skiing.
Kind of like a Canadian
They
university.
they cover all the white middle class to upper class sports.
100%.
Not that we're discriminating against any other sport, but all the ones that I'm attracted to.
No, they're great. Yeah, appropriate.
Okay, so perhaps the difficult part of the conversation,
favorite part.
business-wise,
Turn and cough.
what's happening? What's happening? What has happened? What's the future of Grist?
All right. He's my closer. I'm gonna put in about 9 innings here, guys.
No, you got
worry
a
about the
closer's
closer.
beard though.
I know.
You know, the
It's
Brian
probably
Wilson,
accurate.
the Brian Wilson beard.
In fact, funny story that yeah, maybe a little bit. I
yeah,
don't
but he's
have
a
quite the
Dodger
arm
fan.
strength,
So he's a
but
Dodger fan, so he remembers
I'm not
Brian
a big
Wilson.
fan of Keuchel because of that, but
Good.
I digress.
Yeah.
Business-wise, yeah, we've had quite the odyssey. So as we were talking about the history before, over the last year, we started to see some issues with our brewing process, started to see some decline, one, because of competition, and two, quite honestly, I don't believe our beer was at a level that we could compete in this industry across the board. And so, there's a famous saying, at least I think it's famous, maybe my dad's the only one that says it, but it's you either change the people or you change the people. And so we did the latter side of that motto and decided to go outside and look for a new head brewer that had a lot of experience, had made bones in the commercial side, and had gone to brew school, had done all those things, and could compete with what's being kicked out right now. Because to be honest, if you're not above the storm, nobody's talking about you. And so that's really the reason why we started making the changes and going through a rebranding process. So we changed our logo a little bit, freshened it up, made it a little bit cooler. Behind you guys can see, brought on a marketing team that is designing some really, really cool shit, for lack of a better term.
That's really cool.
It's elevating the place. Our beer is elevated now. Our branding is elevated. And we're going to keep that. That's our target going forward, is really to compete in this, is to say, all right, let's bring in the best talent we possibly can, put them all in the same room, and start working to make a name for ourselves again in this industry. Because we were, full disclosure, I mean, we were sort of fading into obscurity with all the other breweries that are around. Because there's a lot now. And if
How recently were you fading?
We were fading over the last year. So the tipping point was August and September.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was really the tipping point for us. That's where we decided to make a change and bring in Vaughn.
So
Rick Vaughn?
Rick Vaughn, the wild thing.
And here
Sam,
he is.
Here he is, and uncanny resemblance. Sam, I'd like to point out, I
he
think
looks more like Corbin Burnson.
I've never gotten that before. That is awesome.
if you ever tag another infield, fuck, I can't do. I will cut your nuts off and shove them down your fucking throat. There you go. We were gonna do the F-bomb. I did it.
I was thinking more of.
Is a good reference. If
that was
if
awesome.
you reference Major League 2, get out of my face. Get out of my house. Don't drink my beer. Sam, I'd like to point out the high point or the boiling over point of Grist, August, September. You and I were in Grist. In August, September? No, it was not
Did you feel
November.
that heat while you were there?
Well, Nate was behind the bar at the other location. That's kind of my point.
there.
Yeah.
You guys
be
threw a little
damned.
party at the end of the bar, so you guys were.
I just got invited to drink free beer.
You were down.
Yeah, I think I bought Sam a lot
Freeze
of beer.
relative. Like
bought me a
somebody
lot of beer.
paid for it.
and I bought
There
the
was a
mixer,
tab.
Jay.
You did buy the mixer that we're not using today.
And our website.
Yeah, that's $20. I'm never going to hear the end of.
Principalities.
Okay. What were you going to add to this comment about the future of Grist or what happened? And
Well, no, I mean, I'll be honest. I had no idea what was going on at Grist.
Okay.
Like I said, I came from Montana. I was up there. I was enjoying it. My wife and I had twins, and we decided we want to move back to Colorado to be closer to family. And I just said, we're going to move, no job.
yeah.
But I figured I could probably find something. And then I started talking to the owners of Grist and kind of what they were looking for. And, through the industry, I'd kind of heard some things about what was going on in Grist. And so to me, it was an incredible challenge that was in front of me. And then when I showed up, I realized how big of a challenge it was. But I at the time, I was stoked to take on the challenge. The owners are awesome. We have people like Nate working here.
Yeah.
Everybody who works in the tap room are great people. And, I just kind of came in and said, all right, we're starting with a clean slate.
Right.
And I approached it like my experience in Montana, where I helped open the brewery, where we were literally, I went up there and the brew house wasn't even built yet. So that's kind of how I approached this. And working in the industry here, I knew what I had to do to compete with fantastic breweries. And the people that I had worked with prior at Dry Dock, at Lone Tree, at Platt Park, I knew the level that they expected out of me. And hopefully I'm not disappointing them. I want to exceed what they expect out of me. And that's where we're going. So it was, rip the Band-Aid off. We're starting an all-new lineup. It was rough for a little bit because we didn't have that many beers on. But, myself, Brendan, we've been working really, really hard to just try to get out the best beer that we absolutely can. Every beer we make, it's not perfect. So we learn from what we did and just try to make it better. So
Brendan, who's sporting a new haircut to go back to see Mom.
He did get a new haircut.
He did, yeah. Apparently, you couldn't see his neck last week.
No, it was gorgeous. So then he showed up on Monday, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good talent, hard to find, I imagine.
Oh yeah. No, I mean,
Brendan looks like an Avett brother that didn't quite make it. With long hair, it was like, And Avett really was like, hey, can you play like tambourine? And just couldn't quite do it.
he's actually in a band. Did you guys know that?
That's not Avett brother.
That's Lumineers. That's Lumineers. You know what? Interchangeable. Yeah, the Lumineers lived in Wash Park for like 7 months. Yeah. Didn't record shit over there. Nope.
Still claiming.
But yeah, Lumineers and the Avett Brothers, interchangeable as far as I'm concerned.
No, he actually legitimately is in a band.
Interchangeable. We're going to take a sidebar here. We're going to take a sidebar. We're not going to ask Brendan about music, but we're going to ask Brendan about background. And actually, we're going to start with Kevin and Nate. What makes this guy the guy that's allowed to be doing all that stuff, almost losing an eye, spilling all the beer?
Those safety glasses.
Yeah, the safety glasses are sexy, by the way.
So hot
how'd you
right
guys
now.
find this guy? Tell us.
So here's the thing with Brendan. When I first started when I first started here, Chuck, the owner, said, do you need an assistant? I said, no, I think I can handle it for a little bit. Within about a week, I'm like, no, we need an assistant right now.
You backpedaled real fast.
Real quick. I used to work in politics, so I'm real good at backpedaling.
Right, cover your ass.
100%. Spin, and it was great spin. So, we had put out a posting looking for people, and Chuck said, well, you should talk to this guy, Brendan. And I'm like, all right. So it was the maybe first or second brew that I did on this system. It was the pumpkin porter. So it was the first batch I did over here. And this thing is interesting. So I thought,
not the system you would have chosen.
No.
It's
It's a big homebrew system. So, I had arranged this meeting for Brendan. It was the middle of the afternoon. I said, you know what? I'm going to be done by then. He shows up for the interview, and he, I mean, I had liquid all the way to the bar. I mean, it was a mess. Sit down, talk to him, kind of said, this is what I need from, when I want to bring somebody in. He had some experience, but I really wanted to almost teach someone in my ways, which maybe that's me being cocky. Now, he said, I'm totally on board with that. Immediately he leaves. I call Chuck. I said, we're hiring this guy. Super cool guy. He was awesome. And then he shows up and he all of a sudden starts giving me good ideas, which I'm just like, fine, we'll do that, even though I'm like, that is an awesome idea. So we would actually not be.
Oh, and we're losing him already.
He's
working.
He's actually working. 5 minutes. No, but Brendan is great. He came from 10 Barrel, and I know he wanted to do something a little bit different. And when I kind of told him where we were going with Grist and, what was happening here, he completely got on board with it. And no, he's my Robin. So I'm Batman. He's Robin.
I could see that. Robin needs some new T-shirts because he's repping the wrong brand. But
I was going to say, full disclosure, all things aside, 10 Barrel is technically they're very sound. So when you bring a brewer out of 10 Barrel, they know what they're doing.
Oh, so you hijacked a good asset here, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I feel like we did. I mean, as a Viking at heart, we're about raiding. And so we just raid those who have.
Not with a T, but with an AID.
AID.
Yeah,
raid
I like it.
Inning.
I know some Vikings I need to introduce you to, Nate.
I would like to. We'll form a little ship.
And we'll get Brendan over here to make some comments. But like I said, he's working really hard today. I gave him the next week off, so that's why he can work hard.
Technically, he's only got 3 business days off. Ooh, that is true.
Yeah, well, tomorrow, I mean, I have to come in tomorrow because he's not here. So, no, I'm just kidding. I love you.
Okay. And full disclosure, again, which I've said before, one of the things I got to give Kevin credit for is, like, when you build a great team, you hire forward things that you're not as good at. So Kevin is a master of the culinary recipe development. Okay. He makes incredibly good beer. He's also a little wily.
I can see that, yeah.
Whereas
for sure.
Brendan is the
straight-laced.
He's the structure. He's the scaffolding that keeps this building together.
No, what's really funny is, I'll say we're gonna do this with a beer. He doesn't do it so much anymore because I think he's accepted it.
Yeah.
But how much blood orange are we gonna put in the IPA? Well, I'll throw out a number. And he's like, are you sure that's right? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's right. And he's like, why is that right? And I'm like, well, because that's just what I do. And he's accepted some of these things. Now he always says, well, maybe we should do it this way. And I listen to him. And I'd say 80% of the time, I'm like, yeah, you're probably better than, I mean, in my mind, of course, I'm not going to tell him this. Yeah. But
he's not going to hear this.
Positive reinforcement should not be allowed in a verbal setting.
100% agree.
Okay. Do you want to chime in, or are you good? Because I got a question for you.
All right, let's do this.
Distribution, what's going on?
All right, so distribution. We distributed, it would have been year 2. We started out, did cans, did kegs, all the rest of it, and really pushed out. Had about 4 sales reps at one point, and pushed out into the market. Over the last year,
we're going to start calling this our loaded question.
Yeah, over the last year, when we were getting ready to make the change, we pulled back out of distribution because the first thing that's going to happen when you get a new brewer in is they're going to make all new recipes. What I found in the brewing industry is brewers are kind of like musicians. They don't really like playing each other's music. And so when the new brewer comes in, they're going to have their whole new set of recipes. They have their own ways of doing stuff, all that type of thing.
And Kevin has quite politely, I think, made it clear that when he came in, whatever was on tap at the time or whatever was left over was out.
Yeah, I mean, brewers are often, they're like dogs. They're always peeing on the same hydrant, and so he had to pee on his hydrant, basically.
Gotcha. I like that.
That's like fact. But at the end of the day, we knew we were going to have to pull out of distribution. And if we were going through a full rebrand, we were going to have to rebrand the cans. We're going to have to rebrand the packaging. We're going to have to, anything that was out in the market at the time is going to have a new logo on it. So we pulled back We told all of our partners as best we could. I mean, we're still a fairly small organization, and so told them. And we're looking for a re-release probably the end of February, maybe mid-February. Put a little pressure on them to get new cans out and all that type of stuff.
So you're planning on early Q1 2019 initiating new distribution
Totally.
or redistributing again.
Yeah, and going out mindfully, where we're going to start slow again. We'll hit the Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree areas, and then start working our way out. Go to key beer bars, because there's a lot changing in the market, too. The market, as we talked about, is really flattened out here in Colorado. But, two, there's a big thing happening Jan 1, which is the supermarkets are going to be able to sell beer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of questions as to what that's going to look like. My guess is your big brewers are going to jump into the supermarkets because they can do a ton of volume out of there. And the smaller liquor stores are going to have to niche into craft beer. So what our goal is going to be is basically to hit the smaller liquor stores as they're starting to recognize that they need to be more educated salespeople around beer and wine and all the rest.
So are you? I mean, you kind of have to head that up, right, Nate? I mean,
yeah. At that point, it'll be a combination of myself and our marketing crew, Gary and Caleb.
So you just drive around town
and then
all
our
the time?
good boy Malcolm, that is also going to be part of that team as well. I wish he could be here. He's my brother from another mother.
Okay. But I mean, I'm guessing I know what Malcolm's like. I can kind of judge character.
Yeah.
So you're just
Great
gonna be
dude.
driving around all the time.
Yeah, and it separates. So, I mean, you have to go out and actually do the front-end sales stuff. So you have to taste, you have to talk, you have to show your lineup, and the pricing has to be right. Then you have to decide on how much is going to be sold, deliver it, and then the fun part is collections. It's really fun because people always pay their bills.
You want to get paid. That's key. Where's the money at?
So the money when you're small like this is you're always chasing it.
Yeah.
That's one of the big reasons why I think breweries end up going with distributors. It's not just the economies of scale, but you get one check as opposed to having your little peons running around trying to knock on a bunch of doors for a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there.
Brendan, how many words in a Twitter post these days?
He don't tweet.
Is it 120 or 240?
I don't do that shit.
Give us 240 or less on you and the love here at Grist.
It better be love.
Oh, there's so much love. Is this mic too close? No, it's good. Oh, okay. Perfect.
Keep that
All right.
facial hair out of that mic muff
No,
or
I know.
whatever that thing
It'll
is called.
shock. Whenever I'm singing on stage or something, 2 hairs go in and boom, you get that connection. Oh, it's awful. I love everyone here. There's no one I don't like. It's a really great environment. The first day I came in, I said, "Thank God." Oh, thank God. Obviously, Kevin actually knows what he's doing.
There it is right there from the mouths of babes.
That's his only resume. It's just one line. I actually know what I'm doing.
No, it's in bold letters and purple on his resume, actually. Yeah, I actually know what I'm doing.
We're in
And
the
he
business
does.
of communication here one way or another, and I think Sam could agree with me that that's a hell of a resume. That and a headshot.
It is.
For sure.
He's doing the blue steel in his headshot. Yeah.
Movie references abound today.
Damn right.
Okay.
Thank you, Brendan.
Have a good vacation.
Gonna be completely honest.
All right.
You guys make a good beer. We'd like to see you distribute more. In terms of swapping taps with other breweries, is that something that we're going to see more in the next 6 months just because of the rule changes and the law changes?
Yeah, I think you'll probably see a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
variety is going to be the spice of life as it has been in the past. I think you're going to start seeing that more as breweries collaborate, especially small breweries start to get together, form consortiums.
For sure.
Form small groups. You're going to see a lot more breweries underneath one roof, for sure.
Who would you want to collaborate with right now?
Well, actually, that's wonderful you brought that up.
Did you see that natural segue? Wow. Organic.
You made eye contact.
I actually
Kev,
was
that
I
was
was
it,
gonna
yeah.
bring that up. So right now we have actually 2 interesting and awesome collaborations going on for Collaboration Fest in March.
Which is not on my radar, so not on my radar. So
Oh,
give
I
us
should-
30 seconds on Collaboration Fest.
It is put on by the Colorado Brewers Guild. I think it's March 16th. if that's this Saturday. If someone has a quick calendar, Brendan.
That is the Saturday. That is a week from the Saturday I returned from the Cayman Islands. I can 100% confirm that is a Saturday.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm like 99% sure. So we are collabing with Tivoli.
We don't know those guys at all.
Not at all.
I've
Awesome
got a case of
people
beer in
up
my
there.
trunk from Tivoli.
And Sam's wearing a Tivoli shirt.
I'm seeing that right now. No, Nate, Steph up there are awesome. So we're going to do a collaboration with them. They're in-state. Our out-of-state is with Nightlife Brewery from Miami, Florida. You're looking at me like, wait, what's happening there? The owner and head brewer there, I went to brew school with, and he was here for GABF last year, and I said, dude, we're collabing.
We're looking at it right now. March 16th, 2019 collaboration, Beer Fest, established 2014, located at, we don't know yet.
No, it's at the Hyatt downtown.
The Hyatt Denver downtown. Great logo. Sam's going off over here on all their marketing and branding. They've got a great website from what I can
it's
tell.
great.
But no,
and it's it's a fun beer fest because you literally are just making the craziest beers you can.
Sounds good to me. Early bird tickets go on sale January 1st.
They're not paying us any money.
I understand that. It's too late for you.
Trying to get in the guild.
No, that's not my point actually.
Well,
It's
you know what?
It's just a little bit of.
That's his point.
It's just a little bit of promotion, frankly. My point is maybe all I want is 2 or 4 free tickets to Collaboration Beer Fest from the Brewers Guild for the Unfiltered podcast.
You know what? I think that's a great idea. And if you guys are there, just come find me. I'll absolutely come join you guys.
Boom.
And I'll bring my my boys from Tivoli, and I'll bring Juan from Miami.
I want to meet Juan. That was actually the next step that I was going towards here was what do we got to do to get Juan on the radio with us?
Absolutely nothing. I'll just tell him to be on it.
Okay. I think we talked about everything, right? Did we get into the brand? Like what did you articulate the brand and kind of what you're thinking?
The new
moving
brand?
forward? Moving forward.
So if you can see it, it's on her neck piece over there. It's a brand new logo.
Okay.
And what's significant about it is the bee is symbolic in a lot of ways. I mean, bees go after delicious, sweet liquid. They're hardworking. They work as a group. All the rest of it, they're
I've seen Bee Movie plenty of times. I know. I mean, that's basically a
Thank
documentary.
You got the reference.
Yeah.
Underneath the bee, you got 2 grist mill gears. The top one, bee. Where's Jerry Seinfeld when you need him? The bee. Now you got me flustered.
No, I lost it.
So the big grist mill represents the production brewery over in Highlands Ranch. The small grist mill represents the experimental brewery here.
Okay.
Then the wings have 20 segments. That's for 2,000. And then the hop leaf there, or the hop flower, I should say, has 13 leaves, which is for 2013.
Nice.
So cool symbolism. The logo looks amazing, and to be honest, it really elevates the brand. We're trying to go to the higher end of the market, and which is a big reason why we've invested heavily in talent, why we're investing heavily in our marketing and our branding, and quite frankly, why it's a bit of a pressure cooker working here right now because everybody is getting pushed to that next level to produce liquid and sell liquid that is not only delicious but warrants that higher level.
There's no half-assing it at Grist right now.
No, it's a ton of fun, but I mean, like I said before, there is no business week. It's just every day. We're, for the most part, other than Thanksgiving this year, Christmas, we're open and we're getting after it. So.
Yeah. Do what you love and love what you do. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the new marketing on this wall in particular is so good and so classy, I probably shouldn't be drinking in here anymore. But that's just honest self-reflection. So
I shouldn't be working here
Well,
anymore.
yeah, I wasn't going to go to that level. I mean, brewers are a whole other breed, right?
Well, no, I mean, I brew a beer over here, and I have her looking over my shoulders, so I know the level that I have to get to.
She does remind me of my wife quite a bit, actually, just with that downward gaze over your shoulder, waiting to tell you what you did wrong.
Watching, judging.
Exactly.
This is about the time in the podcast when we both go after our wives, just assuming they don't get this far in listening to an episode.
I know for a fact that my wife will never listen to one of these.
I'm pretty sure my wife is watching right now.
Yeah.
So
And Kevin's wife is beautiful.
she is
Amazing.
She's absolutely beautiful.
Supportive,
Great mother.
Created 2 beautiful young children.
They are.
And he had nothing bad to say about her both before or during this podcast interview.
Thank you. No, and I don't. She's wonderful. Give a shout out to her. She actually, you know what? She actually has put up with me through the whole brewing thing. I moved her to Montana. Then we came back, and she had twins, which is absolutely amazing. And she's a wonderful mother. So, Krista, love you. You do a great job.
Are there, Brandon loves her. Are there any Grist onesies running around that we need to know about? Or are there just
No,
2?
we've thrown the idea around the onesie. Apparently, it's frowned upon to put onesies out there as folks that wear them can't drink beer, nor should they be drinking
Who
beer.
said that was frowned upon? I think every brewery we've done an interview in, A, they sell them, B, there's kids
Oh, they
wearing
do
them.
sell them. There is no
And
doubt.
C,
There is no doubt.
The parents, yeah, I don't buy that. My kids have all worn the same I love big dumps onesie from Vail. So what does that tell you? People don't care what's on a onesie.
Well, and also my children, I bring them to a brewery, and they absolutely love it. So
Breweries are now, especially in
2
Colorado,
future
very
brewers
keen.
maybe
Yeah.
with Finnegan and Amelia. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Very
yeah,
possible. They are in a brewing household.
People get it, right? I mean, you guys get it. Like this is the new demographic is parents like us who want to hang out in a place and let their kids run around and not, nobody's going to yell
To be
at
honest,
them.
that's one of the big things with the craft breweries in general. And it's if you go online, you'll see kind of pushback both sides. But it is a family-friendly environment
Yeah.
for the most part. It's
Yeah.
much more low-key. It's much more around the neighborhood it's in. And if you ever travel, I tell people this all the time, if you go to a local brewery, you're going to get a very good idea of the local community. And it's oftentimes a great representation.
Spent a week in Palm Springs, California last year, a brewery that shall remain unnamed. We drove 45 minutes to, only to find out they wouldn't allow kids in. Now that was a technicality.
Welcome to Cali, baby!
Yeah, that was a quick dick punch, for lack of a better word. But to
It's
give
all
them
about exclusivity in California.
well, to give them their fair credit, and my wife a little bit of under the bus here. She drove us past their original brewery that we could have stopped at 5 minutes away to go to the fancy one, only to find out the fancy one had a very technical limitation on what they could do and not allow children in, which still was a huge dick punch, lack of a better word. One other thing, I'm just going to throw this out there. These guys have turned away folks since we walked in at 11:45. It might be time to rethink the Friday open hours for the tap room.
All right, let's be fair. It's a holiday weekend, and so a lot
But
of times
the mall's right there.
the mall is right there.
Come on, Nate. Like this is where
I'm
people
just
want to
saying.
be.
And I work right down the street. On Fridays, I don't do a lot of work.
For every day that you turn away a few when you change your posted hours, you have your poor bartender here, Will. Say hi, Will.
Hey, Will.
Poor Will is standing lonesome by the taps, waiting and yearning. So it's 6-1, half a dozen
not
the other.
urinating.
You can't
Urinating.
win with opening times because they work 90% of the time, and then 10%. Yeah, there's a party that shows up.
Well, gentlemen, thank you both very, very much. Wonderful interview. Best of luck. Looking forward to the kind of next phase in Grist.
Thank you, and we really appreciate you guys having us on.
No, cheers. All right. Unfiltered Merry. Hey, happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, thank you
Happy
guys
holidays.
for coming down, braving the traffic, braving everything that is from Denver to the suburbs.
There
I
are
know
a
it's
billion
probably
people around the
ruthless.
mall right now.
Absolutely ruthless. So
If
we thank you
anybody
guys.
on I-25 is listening or live streaming this, there are 2 lanes to exit at County Line Road. Okay, you do not have to back it up to Orchard.
Learn to merge, Colorado. Just
Oh my
saying.
God, learn to merge. We
Learn to
could do this
merge.
all day, or get off at 470. Yeah.
Learn to merge.
More to go. More to go.
All right, peace, guys. Thank you very much.